How to make another word card, but this time I'm going to add a print and cut feature to it. So I'm going to actually start by selecting an object that I edited in Inkscape, and I'll be posting that video as well so that you can learn how to just convert them so that they can be actually used for print and cut. And it was an image that I got from a free online scrapbooking set that was called Tinker, and I will leave the information in the box below so that you guys can go ahead and download it yourselves. It's a really cute little robot set. So this little bot here is the one that I converted, and I'm going to select him. Be sure that when you open it, you have all files selected so you can actually see that it's on there. Alright, here he is. Nice big boy. Okay, so let me go ahead and shrink him down a bit so that you can see what we're working with. And I'm going to go to my trace window, select trace area, and I'm going to trace the entire thing. Now I'm going to have to make a few minor adjustments with this little guy to make it a perfect print cut. And I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm just going to actually select trace outer edge. And it, believe it or not, will not be the entire outer edge, but it'll work. For some reason these little shoes want to do their own thing. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to edit the points in these shoes. Hold on, that's the wrong one. Another solution would be, since it's simply a rectangle, you could just cut these rectangles off and add a new one, and that's what I would normally do, but I wanted to be able to show you how to kind of play with this. Alright, so I'm going to go in here and grab another point in this foot inside, and I'm just going to delete some of those points so that it's a single layer. Alright, now the next thing is to be creating an offset. Okay, remember the offset is what we really use to create our cards and the shape. Okay, so I'm going to apply that. Let me get this little guy off of the page for a second. And I'm going to select this image, make sure I have my arrow selected. So select, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to go to my window for my offset. I'm going to create an offset. Now this offset we want it to be really narrow because this is our print and cut offset, so it almost needs to be right along the edge. Okay, so we want it to be nice and tight against that outer edge of our shape. Okay, so I think that's about where I want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. And I'm going to separate this. Hey, it worked. Okay, perfect. Alright, so this is going to basically be my print and cut. And I'll show you how that works. I know a lot of you are struggling with the print and cut feature, and once you get the hang of it, it's really great. It's not as complicated as it seems. Okay, so this is going to be my little print and cut image. I do want to select the back, Control C, and then put that in actually a new document so that I can play with creating the shape of my card. Okay, so I'm going to leave this little guy here just as is. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working with. Now, you simply go about it by, we're going to first put our letters in, and then I'm going to create the card matte. So I'm going to actually use the same word I used last time, which is Jacob. And I think this time I'm going to use a really cute font called Elephants. Really cute font. Okay, so I'm going to do J-A-C-O-B, and there is his name. It's perfect. Now with this one, I am going to change it up a bit, and the reason is I want to be able to have him standing on the word, but I want my J to be a lot bigger. So I'm going to start by sizing the whole thing so that he can, just actually stand on the word. And then I'm going to go up to my object, ungroup, and I'm going to split this apart, and then I'm going to manipulate the J a little bit more. Now, with this one, I'm actually not going to merge each and every letter together. I'm not going to weld them. I'm just going to space them out like that. Okay, now what you need to do is select the entire object. Okay, and we're going to create an offset. Hold on, let me select this little guy. We're going to create an offset, which will be the back of our card. You go back to the offset button, click offset. Bring this in to about, I would say about 1.3. I'm going to see what it looks like. Watch your letters and your shapes. Make sure that everything kind of connects nicely and you don't have a lot of little open spots. Yeah, that's about, oh, it's a little too small. Let's go up. My mouse got away. Okay, that's about where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply. Perfect. And so now I just want to go in and get rid of some of these little pieces. If you can see, there's a little space there that isn't necessary. I'm going to actually leave those pieces under the arm. Alright, so now what you would do, first let's join our word. The rest of the process is basically what we did with the last word card, which is we take this offset. I'm going to group these and move them just a second. Okay. So we're going to take this offset that you see behind, just moving these little guys down. We're going to take this offset and we're going to create two of them. And so we'll actually mirror up again. Let me rotate it. Right, and I'm actually going to use a larger piece of paper for this little guy just to make sure he fits. So I'm going to go into my window here, and let me just use a piece of 12 by 12 paper. I'll actually be 8.5 by 12, but it'll work. Okay, so I'm going to select my image, or my offset, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to go up to my object, transform window, come down to mirror options. I will mirror right this time. Okay. Before I bring them together, I'm going to make an additional copy of this so that I can have my matte background. Okay. And if you see with this little guy, he has that nice little antenna thing on the top of his head, and we don't want to fold it in that little narrow space. It's kind of a hefty card, so I'm actually going to bring my fold line this time all the way together. And again, like I said, that little cover mat is going to cover it, so it's not going to be an issue at all. Okay, so we have that there. It's the place where I want it. I'm going to select this piece, go to the modify window, weld together. Then I will throw in a pretty basic, let's go ahead, perforation line, just like I did before, making sure not to get too close to the edge there. Select that, go to our cut style window, and I'm going to perforate that baby. Okay, quickly show you how to do the print cut image. The thing I think most of you are struggling with is understanding how to actually print it. If you get your machine to read your registration marks, you should be good. So when you have your print and cut image here, I've got my cut window. I'm going to go to my scissors to make sure, oops, look, this is, I'm glad I checked. Do you see this box that goes around the outside edge? That is the boundaries of the original ping image that I embedded. Now I want to make sure that is not cut. So I'm select it and I'm going to go to no cut. So now the only thing that will be cut is the shape around my little guy. Okay, let me get him centered there. We want to make sure he's right on. You can use your arrow keys to just barely bump it up. Alright, so now you're going to go up to this little button here that has little arrows on it, and that is your registration mark button. Click show registration marks. Okay, now I like to have my registration marks nice and thick because I find that my machine reads it better. Okay, so you want to thicken those out. You do not want to make them too small. Okay, so the next thing you would do is actually go up and print it. And you'll have to forgive me because my machine is not actually connected currently. So I would go ahead and click OK. I'm going to cancel that. After you've printed, you will go to the cut button. Okay, and I always print before I go through the cut process. I don't usually print through this. Okay, so I'll click skip to print, to skip printing. Then you will load the machine. Remember, you want to load with the arrow. So if your registration marks, or two of them are on the top, you want to make sure that's the piece going in. Okay, then we're going to continue. Detect registration marks would be the next step, and then once it's detected, your cut file window will open and you'll just be able to cut it. So it's really simple. Give it some practice. Once you try it, you'll have a lot of fun.